Chapter 1. Soothe Your Stress. Are you stressed? Well, in our busy world, it's almost a badge of honor to walk around saying, "I'm so stressed out." Can you imagine calling a friend and saying, "Everything's great. I'm calm pretty much all the time. Life is a breeze." Your friend would probably say, "Who exactly is this on the phone?" In our busy, overscheduled lives, it's almost a given that we're walking around frazzled. On my holiday tour, I might hit 30 cities in 30 days, but that's what I love to do. Nothing makes me happier during the warmth of the holiday season than sitting down at the piano in front of all my fans and playing my songs along with some Christmas classics. Am I stressed that I have to leave the theater, hop on a plane, avoid a snowstorm, deal with missing luggage, and then figure out where the heck the hotel is in the middle of a dark night in Portland? Of course, I might be juggling a lot, but truth is, I'm a pretty happy guy doing what I believe I was born to do. So to answer my own question, I'm crazy busy with my life, which can be stressful at times. I was talking with a woman at one of my concerts the other day, and she told me that she took a buyout from her company during the recession. She remarked how suddenly stress-free her life was these days. "What are you up to now?" I asked her. "Well, I'm gardening and going to my club 5 times a week, and I've been doing yoga. That's pretty much it," she said, sounding a little guilty as she rattled off her daily list. Her regular life in the past included traveling, working weekends, and regularly dealing with Chicago O'Hare shutdowns because of snowstorms. I wanted to know, was she feeling guilty for being forced to remove the stress from her life? "Jim," she said, I do feel kind of bad about it. I tell my friends who are juggling kids and jobs how I actually have free time now. It's like they don't even want to hear about it. One of my friends even said, "How nice for you. I gotta go." Well, how do you know if you're stressed? The other day, I decided to try a little experiment to see how stressed I was. I've read so much about how nature is naturally de-stressing, so I went for a walk with a friend who is way more zen than I am. It was one of those beautiful spring days when the air is cool, but there's just a hint of a warm breeze. We grabbed some lunch and took a walk past trees in bloom all around us. "Hey, look at that cute little puppy," said my friend. "Huh?" I remarked, because I didn't even notice the dog. "The petunias are blooming. They look really nice," said my friend. "Petunias? What petunias?" "Oh, right, those petunias over there, and over there, and over there." I hadn't really noticed them. There's a good chance you're stressed if you walk around caught up in your own head and don't really see much around you. I have a way of being in my head even when I'm seemingly enjoying what's around me. I'm a pro at coasting absent-mindedly through every moment or mindlessly remarking about something without even looking at it and certainly not finding the joy in it. I can converse with someone else while thinking about other things. I can't help it. My mind races as I try to problem solve and multitask, even while I'm supposedly de-stressing on a walk. So try spending time with a Zen friend and practice pushing away whatever else might be on your mind. Let yourself look for the details. Those purple flowers, the lady with the weird floppy hat, that young couple having a picnic and making out in the grass. Instead of thinking, "Oh, cute young love, but I really have to get to the bank, and I wonder why my mom is calling. I hope she's okay." Force yourself just think about that couple. How old are they? What's their story? What is she wearing? Is this a new relationship, an old one? Do I have that? Do I want that? Experts agree that when you get out of your own head and focus on someone else or something else, your entire system takes everything down one notch, and you truly begin to relax. In fact, helping others is a great way to get out of your own headspace of negativity and stress. Of course, I'm not saying that you should do good things just to reap the benefits yourself. This reminds me of a remarkable young man named Zach Sobiak, 17, who was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer and was told he only had months to live. Instead of dwelling on his own situation and focusing on the obvious stress, Zach did something that took an incredible amount of courage. He thought of others in his life, the people he loved, and put those feelings into a song called Clouds, which is about hope and promise. Through his story, he knew he could inspire others going through hard times, and he could have a meaningful impact on the world. After Zach passed away, I did a concert in Minnesota that benefited the Zach Sobiech Osteosarcoma Fund. That night, Zach's family attended and came up on stage to perform Zach's song, Clouds. This touching experience compelled me to record a version of Clouds for my last album. I wanted to honor Zach's legacy, wanted to help him send into the world this song that taught us that even in the darkest moments, there are ways to take the focus off what's bad and find what's good and positive. I love the lyrics of the song. And we'll go up, 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 and I'll fly a little higher. We'll go up in the clouds because the view's a little nicer. Up here, my dear. How trivial my stress seemed when I was immersed in getting this important young man's message out. I can't thank Zach enough for putting things into perspective and reminding me what's truly important. I know that during the days in which I was recording Clouds, I certainly didn't allow life's minor annoyances to shake me. What might you accomplish when you get out of your own drama, or when you see how you can be of service to others by honoring them, helping them, or passing on an important message? Here's a little piece of the song Clouds. You can hear the whole song and Zach Sobiech's entire story when you visit SootheYourWorld.com.
I fell down, down, down into this dark and lonely hole. There was no one there to care about me anymore, and I needed a way to climb and grab a hold of the edge. You were sitting there holding a rope, and we'll go up, 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 but I'll fly a little higher, go up in the clouds because the view's a little nicer up here, my dear. It won't be long now, it won't be long now when we get back on.
Signs of stress. Well, here's a quick cheat sheet when it comes to deciding exactly how stressed you are. Remember that stress can cause mental and physical health issues, including high blood pressure, heart-related issues. So here are a few physical symptoms of stress and anxiety that you should pay attention to in your quest to figure out how stressed you are. So you might be stressed if you have frequent headaches. When you're stressed, you clench your jaw or tense your facial muscles. You also tense your neck and shoulders, which can lead to headaches. You might also grind your teeth. You can check with your doctor if the symptoms persist. It hurts all over. Maybe you don't have a headache, but after a stressful day, you feel like you've had a major workout at a gym. Your muscles ache. You might think that you're coming down with something. The next day, you're fine. This could be stress, which works on your nervous system. When you're stressed, your natural flight or fight response kicks in, and then blood rushes to major muscle groups. This muscle tension causes you to clench up and your muscles to tighten. This makes them feel sore and painful later on, or stay tight, which is painful. Your stomach aches. You were feeling fine, and suddenly your stomach starts churning. You feel this killer stomach ache developing. Kids will often seem fine in the evening, but in the morning they say they have a tummy ache and they don't want to go to school. A lot of the time, the pain that your kid is feeling is real, and he or she is not making stuff up to stay home and play video games. He or she might be stressed. Many people find that their stress transitions into stomach cramps, diarrhea, constipation, nausea, and generally upset stomach. Your face breaks out. Why do teens break out so frequently? Some believe it's their stress levels. Also explains why middle-aged people can suddenly have a few zits. Stress ups your level of the hormone cortisol, which then produces more testosterone, and this causes acne. You have reddish skin and eczema. When you're stressed, your skin can reveal it. Why? Stress leads to inflammation, which can cause a reddish complexion and even eczema. You feel sweaty. Stress causes us to sweat. which might just stress you out even more. Sweat is a result of your flight or fight response, which triggers hormones such as adrenaline. Another sign of stress, you can't sleep. It's well known that stress not only gives you restless sleep, which leaves you exhausted and more stressed out, but also increases rapid eye movement or REM sleep, and then it decreases your slow wave or deep sleep. The result? Your body doesn't get to do cell repair, which leaves you weaker, vulnerable to diseases, and exhausted. Another sign of stress? You invite disease. When you're really stressed, your hormones run amok and your immune system is compromised. What happens next is that your body has trouble producing the white blood cells that fight off diseases and infection. This leaves you susceptible to all sorts of illnesses. I asked Dr. Drew Ramsey to be a Soothe expert in the book. I can't say enough about Dr. Drew Ramsey. He is an assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at Columbia University, a frequent guest on my radio show. He studies how the brain functions and has written several books about it, which makes him a perfect Soothe expert. He also has a clinical practice in which he helps patients find greater happiness by focusing on what is causing their brain to stay happy and eliminating what's making them not so thrilled about life. Dr. Ramsey says that when you're dealing with stress, to try to manage it, he says stress is unavoidable. The main focus for all of us should be how to manage stress in a better, more effective way. We can intervene in a biological way to make sure that we have a brain that's reacting to our stressors optimally. A good example is to imagine yourself running out of the house in the morning having no breakfast. You're too busy for lunch, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you haven't eaten a thing. The kids are crying, you're driving in traffic, you're more reactive than ever and more irritable. The truth is, you're probably hungry, which makes you irritable. So in this case, we can say that you're stressed because you're hungry. Remember that biology drives your stress because your brain is either managing stress or not. Dr. Drew Ramsey talks about dealing with stressors by suggesting that you develop your own personal psychological toolbox, which is why the tips in this book are really good. All of us have to pay our bills. We have difficult things to say to another person. Most of us deal with bosses, break things in the house, people die. The road of life is paved with bumps, and that's a given. But there are ways to raise your awareness and mindfulness and learn how to soothe yourself. Dr. Drew Ramsey practices in New York City and sees some of the most overscheduled people on the planet. Sometimes Dr. Drew says that people will focus on everything but themselves, and they avoid the truth. He says he saw a man recently who told him that he was a good father figure. Drew asked him how much time he spent with his son, and he said, average about 1 day a month, hardly a model parent. Drew says that people like to avoid sitting with themselves and their feelings because our modern lives and addiction to electronics help us be avoidant. You can't avoid soothing just because life is stressful. The first thing that Drew does when he finds himself in a stress state is to think about what nourishment he's taken in that day. So if he went to a party the night before and feels bad the next morning, he knows he needs breakfast and hydration. So next time you're stressed, ask yourself, am I hungry, angry, lonely? Then remedy that problem as you address the source, and you might just find your stress melting away. Some wonderful ideas from Dr. Drew Ramsey to soothe. Drew told me that he hates the idea of stress eating, as you need the right fuel to combat stress and take on life's challenges. Eating can be a wonderful tool to combat stress. During times of stress, Dr. Drew Ramsey suggests having a healthy snack like a kale salad or a piece of dark chocolate, handful of almonds. Nourishing foods help shift your mental state. Spicy foods are great when stressed. A black bean taco with extra hot sauce, it's soothing, especially in the afternoon when your energy is low and you need nutrients and energy. Dr. Drew says, don't panic. His number one tip for de-stressing, stop the catastrophic thinking. It's not the end of the world. The one thing that many doctors see, including Dr. Drew in his practice, is catastrophic thinking. Your house won't be foreclosed on because a payment is late. It's usually not bad news from the doctor when the phone rings. And just because a school called doesn't mean that there was an accident. Maybe your child won an award. You have to keep it all in context and remember that it's usually not the worst case scenario. When I asked Dr. Drew Ramsey his favorite way to soothe patients who are stressed out, he suggested mindful breathing, a cleansing breath. It doesn't matter what you call this technique, it works and it can be done anywhere at almost any time. So you're ready to soothe by mindful breathing? Inhale through your nose, through one nostril if you can, by blocking the other nostril with your finger. And now inhale to a count of 4 beats. As you inhale through your nose, feel your abdomen, lungs, and chest fill with air. Focus on your breath alone. If random thoughts, bills, kids, layoffs, happen to drift into your head, treat them like unwanted interruptions and let them pass. Now, purse your lips and exhale through your mouth to a count of 8 beats. Now repeat on the other side of your nose. Dr. Drew explains that you always want to exhale longer than you inhale. If you inhale slowly and then push out all the air, you're blowing too harshly and you won't soothe your system. By pursing your lips, you actually slow down your breath. This type of breath instantly changes your physiology, says Dr. Drew. It's a perfect exercise to do when you're feeling anxious. Anxiety heightens our stress response, our heart rate goes up, our breathing becomes rapid. You want to slow down the breath to calm down. Slow down to calm down. Drew recalls a certain patient who came to his office to talk about love issues. Drew says, he was telling me about a fight he'd had with his girlfriend, and I counted to 45 before the man even took a breath. So basically, this man was stressed out, and then he was stressing himself out even more by not breathing. Dr. Drew explains that with breath inhalation, focus on pulling in good positive energy, nourishment, and white light, which is a calming force. The breath also fuels your brain with oxygen. You're pulling in this life force. Because of this, if you don't breathe regularly and mindfully, you'll be even more stressed. Well, continuing now with things that may stress you out. What if things are not so hot in the bedroom? Why is it that when we're stressed out, the last thing on earth we want to do is think about sex, a major stress reducer? Well, medically speaking, this is absolutely normal because stress lowers your GnRH, which is basically code for the body's main sex hormone. If you're looking at reduced sperm count, ovulation, and sexual activity too, this is why many couples who are trying to conceive a baby are always told not to stress out about it. You may be stressed if you have panic attacks. In some people, stress causes symptoms that can make it feel like a heart attack is coming on. You know that feeling. And it's always good to seek immediate medical attention if this is your situation, and you want to make sure it isn't in your heart. Doctors may tell you that you're having a quote-unquote panic attack. In medical terms, your baseline arousal level is running on high. Remember that chronic stress needs attention. If you live in a state of stress, you might have an anxiety disorder, which would require professional care. So always check with your doc, who might recommend working with a psychologist, a counselor, or a psychiatrist. We want to help you build your soothing toolbox. So here's some ideas to try to start to soothe today. Stay hydrated and drink water, not just caffeinated beverages. Really important one. Regulate your blood sugar by eating whole foods, whole grains, and make sure you're never hungry by incorporating healthy snacks into your diet. White sugar is the enemy. It causes your blood sugar to spike and then fall. Move. Any exercise, including walking, immediately soothes you. And focus on relaxing breathing techniques. More on building your Soothe toolbox at jimbrickman.com and sootheyourworld.com.